Why is it important, even from a very logical standpoint, to want passive income? Well, from a pure taxes standpoint, the IRS identifies income in many different ways. And if we're aware of this, if we recognize this, active income is trading time for dollars. So that's what most people do. It is actually taxed at the highest rate compared to some passive income sources. You also pay Social Security and Medicare on top of that. So when we think about passive income, this is where it gets kind of juicy. The income earned while we have little or no work from creating the passive income, it is actually taxed the least. So it's around 20% depending on the income source. There are a couple of different types I want to speak into just to give you some examples and ideas here. So you could pay taxes on royalty income, so payments from copyrights, books, pictures, trademarks, mineral rights. Those are all forms of royalties, different payment sources from there. You could pay taxes on portfolio income. So the interest dividends on your investments also have an ability to create passive income, as we mentioned earlier. Running a business like a laundromat, having vending machines. Some people have parking garages, they have land, and so they create the ability to utilize that land for different reasons. Advertising, e-commerce, selling online, affiliate marketing, those are all forms of pretty typical passive income. And then real estate is a really big one, and I would say popular as well. So that could be in the form of commercial housing, residential housing, rental income, storage units. So there's a lot of different ways you could look at using real estate to create passive income as well. So with that being said, we just want to recognize that even from a saving money, keeping more of it rather, you're even taxed less typically on passive income. Some other things that I want to just kind of mention as far as what gets a little confusing is multi-level marketing is a form of active income because you are typically recruiting and selling products. So while that could be another extra great source of income in terms of establishing multiple sources of income, it is a very active source of income. And I want to start to dig into here a little bit around asking yourself, what is your passion? Can it be documented? Can it be repurposed? And really identifying that it doesn't have to be all that complicated in terms of creating something that could establish a passive form of income for yourself. If you have anything that you love to do that can be documented or repurposed or taught, it can be put into a course. A lot of what I do here is put into courses. So it's a really phenomenal way to utilize technology to share our knowledge. It actually allows us to scale very quickly and share this information with those that we love and care about most first, and then our friends, and then our friends' friends. So it's a great opportunity to kind of package up all of your great goodies and knowledge and information and utilize that information for others to have as a resource. We all have a unique selling proposition. So whether that's selling a service, whatever type of value add that we can provide to the world around us, that is what we can make money on. So if you learn nothing else today, know that when you create wealth for yourself, it is in how you create value for the world around you. And that unique selling proposition can be in so many different ways. So how do you add value? How do you stay in integrity of continuing to build that for yourself? And there's a few questions you can ask yourself related to this, as far as scalability is the first one. So how many people could you serve? If you were to repurpose this information and repackage it and teach others on it, whether that's through coaching or through kind of packaging it up into a course to teach them, how many people could you serve realistically? Would it be 5, 10, 100? I mean, the goal here is to really create that scalability because that's going to increase the passive income you receive. What are the regulations around it? Is it a highly regulated industry? Are you selling on someone else's platform? So for example, with the courses, Teachable is a program or a platform that you can use to sell your courses. You know, what does that regulation require of you? Or can you sell it on your own platform? You know, what does that look like? And then that kind of goes into the next one, which is how much of an investment is it? What is the time and money that you're probably going to initially have to spend to create this in your life. And you want to also recognize that we will have to spend some time to free up time. And that's pretty much inevitable with many forms of passive income. Not with all of them, but unless you have just $1 million sitting around somewhere to create true passive income immediately from dividends and interest, then we're going to have to create that $1 million to start with. Once it gets created though, that's where more magic happens, and we can create a really sound financial plan around how to utilize it to continue to build your wealth, but also produce an income for yourself and an income in an efficient way. The next one here is marketability. So really understanding, is there a need for what it is that I want to add value into the world? Most of the time there is. Is there a demand? And is that demand greater than whatever the supply is out there? So I'm going to use a pretty traditional example here, and probably something we see all over the place, but personal trainers are really all over the place. In my mind, I see a lot of physical personal trainers, so helping with either physical therapy or some form of active movement, some form of personal training and development for your body, for your nutrition, those types of things. So in terms of supply, I feel like there's a huge supply of personal trainers, but recognizing that each one is a little bit different. And the demand is there for really all of them, because I'm not going to personally be identifying with some guy who's really bulky and trying to tell me what to do with my personal training endeavors. I will probably resonate more with someone who is probably a woman, probably talking about how I don't have to go super hard all the time and making it difficult, right? I want it to be easy. I want it to be pretty effortless, something that I don't have to really think about. I can do it pretty quickly and get through it and be excited and feel good about it. I want someone who makes me feel good about it. Not everyone's gonna appeal to me in that instant. The same thing is true here. Although my entire career has been on the financial planning side, what I'm really excited to dive into is the mindset, the habits in putting the two together so that we can think logically on the one hand from a planning standpoint, but then we can also tie in the emotion around it, the accountability around it to really drive the results that you're going to see. And then the last question to really ask yourself when thinking through how do I create more wealth, how do I create some form of passive income, is how much work is it to maintain it? So once you get past that initial kind of hump of, okay, it's going to take X amount of time, maybe it takes a year to set up, maybe it takes 2 years to set up, this is the amount of money it's going to take initially. Once you get past that first phase, really a phase one of it, phase two is how much work is that to maintain? And if the answer is pretty low, pretty limited, and the result is it's creating full-on income that you need and want and desire to fulfill your purpose, awesome, great. That's what we want. That's where we want to get to from a results standpoint.